Hey, what's up everybody? You gave me a lot of suggestions as to what I should make for the channel. So I'm going to start making them. I've got a whole list of everything that you've suggested, and I've got the ingredients and this and that. Tonight, Chef Lynn and I decided to make a shepherd's pie. It's technically a cottage pie because we're not using lamb. It's actually kind of hard to get out where we're at for some weird reason. But that's what we're going to do. I've got some boiling water. I've got some potatoes already cut. I've got a pound of 80-20 ground beef. I am going to cheat a little bit. I'm using canned carrots, canned peas, and some chopped onion. I have a slight allergy, so I am a little averse to using fresh onion, even though it's delicious and I love it, but sometimes it messes me up, so I'm going to use these. So first things first, I'm going to take my potatoes, as you can see here, and I'm going to dump them into a giant pot of boiling water. I'm going to use my spoon and just kind of dump these in. Now, they may look a little brown to you, but that's because I've seasoned them. They're not actually brown and yucky. I just put a little bit of paprika on them and a little bit of black pepper because, well, paprika is great, black pepper is great. So do that. Paprika, black pepper, just kind of throw some on there, let them sit for a little bit. Boom, into the water they go. Now, we've got our 80-20 ground beef. This is one of the stars of the show. Dump it in. Got a nice hot skillet. I'm just dumping that right in there. I've got my little spoon in here, and I'm just going to kind of mix it around. You want it nice and hot. One of the things that we're going to do here is actually finish this in the oven with some cheese. I hope you can hear me over the sound of this very hot skillet. Look at that, it's trying to get away. Not on my watch. Go ahead and turn that down a little bit. One of the beauties of this is you don't really need to add a lot of salt and pepper, but I have over here a few cups of beef stock. I don't know if you can see the steam, but it smells good. I would just drink this. I'm going to add this because with shepherd's pie, you need like kind of a gravy. We're going to add peas and carrots to this, and we want a little bit of gravy, then mashed potatoes on top. You bake it off with a little bit of cheese. Oh, good stuff. So I've got about a cup and a half here. We're going to go ahead and dump that in with our meat. We are not going to strain this. We're going to let, it's 80-20, it's not that fatty. We're just going to cook this up until it's about browned and ready to go. We're going to go ahead and add that stock that we made, which I actually used better than bouillon. You saw this in the last video. This is the beef. So I use it. It's kind of a cheater shortcut. Also, I'm going to use just a generic beef stew seasoning mix. This is going to act as a kind of a thickening agent, so to speak. It's going to give us some flavor, but it's also going to make the gravy sauce stuff a little bit thicker. That's what we want. We don't want it really runny because you got runny, beefy stuff with thick mashed potatoes on top. Yeah, we don't want that. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use this. There's nothing wrong with that. It's going to taste delicious, trust me. In the meantime, I'm going to take a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, add it with my meat. Why not? Smells good, tastes good. Oh, you're gonna love it. That's about it. Brown the beef. Why not, right? You don't want it raw. Ugh. Who wants raw beef? I have seen a few people eat raw beef like on YouTube before, and that's just not something I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and continue to kind of break this up. we've added our Worcestershire sauce. No salt, no pepper, nothing. We're going to get a lot of flavor out of the little gravy and the stew packet that we're using. So if we salt and pepper this now, it might be really crazy salty once we add our gravy mixture, sauce mixture, whatever you want to call it, into it. We don't want that. We want to go ahead and just wait for a few minutes. Make sure this is pretty much all the way done. And then we add our peas and our carrots and our mixture. Once we do that, we wait a few more minutes, check for flavor, and season to taste. In the meantime, we've got our potatoes going. And, mashed potatoes are pretty easy. Mashed potatoes. You know how to make these, right? You can make them in a bag, or you can just, wash and skin a potato, cut it up, throw it in a boiling pot of water, and once it's cooked, you strain it. A little bit of butter, a little bit of milk. Personally, I like to add a little bit of sour cream. Keep it mixing. You're done. If you don't really know the technique, let me know in the comments below, and I'll do a video just on mashed potatoes for you, but you have to let me know. If that's not something you care to see, then I'm just not going to do it, because, well, I'm making some here, and you're going to see that. At this point, I'm waiting for my potatoes to finish so that I can actually whip them up and make mashed potatoes. I'm waiting for my ground beef to finish, and then I'm going to add the gravy in, that little cheater packet that I'm using. I'm going to dump it all into this dish here. Throw it in the oven, and once the potatoes on top get a little browned and crispy, I'm going to throw some shredded sharp cheddar on top of it. Put it back in for about 5 minutes. Then I'm going to eat it. And it's going to be delicious. See you soon. The longest that we're going to wait, as far as putting this meal together, is for our potatoes to be done. And mine are absolutely done. You want to take like a fork or a knife and kind of stab them a little bit. Don't go all the way down to the bottom of your pan if it's a non-stick pan, because you don't want to scratch it. Mine are done. Now, I've got my meat and my carrots, my peas and everything. We added a little bit of that stock, and we added that little faker packet earlier. It's super thick. We want to keep it thick because we don't want it runny. But it's also super salty. We don't want that. So, what I'm going to do now is take my potatoes. I'm going to pull them off, and I'm going to drain them out. Here, I've got my pot, and the lid on this thing is actually really cool. It's got some little holes in it. There are little pour spots on the side, so between the vents and the pour spot, I can actually just drain it using the lid. I don't need a colander for this, but I am going to reserve some liquid. I want to maintain the thickness of the gravy that I've got with my meat and my veg, but I also need to loosen it up a little bit and kind of get some of that saltiness out. So that's what I'm going to do using this liquid. Don't get rid of all of your potato liquid. Save a cup, half a cup, maybe 2 cups. This is up to you, how thick or thin you want it. But definitely, at this point, especially using that faker packet, it's a little salty. So, drain it. I've got 2 cups there. Well, here, I should say. I'm going to go ahead and pour some of this in. Yeah, I spilled a little bit, but I'm kind of clumsy sometimes. That happens. I'm going to go ahead and give that a good stir. That's about what I want it to look like. It looks a little soupy now, but it's going to thicken and reduce. That's kind of what we want. Yeah, oh yes, that's going to be great. Remember, always taste your food. Check it for seasoning. I've got to go ahead and, oh, well, there that guy went. Not on my watch. I got my little flappy flappies, and I'm going to continue draining these. And then I've got one of those plastic potato mashers. I know you know what I'm talking about. Some are metal. I have a plastic one because I've got Tefal non-sticks. You don't want to use metal in these things at all, ever. It just scratches the hell out of them, and you wind up with a non-stick pan, which, well, that defeats the purpose, right? At this point, I'm going to add some butter, salt, pepper, and sour cream. I'm going to take my happy little mashy mash here and just beat the crap out of these things and lay them out on top of my meat mixture, which you've already seen. It goes in this. So I'll be back in a few minutes once all of this is finished, and I'll show you how to put this together, get it in the oven, and have a good time eating, because, oh, this is one of my favorite meals. Shepherd's pie, well, cottage pie, I mean, same difference, right? Well, no, one has lamb, one uses beef, but either way, it's kick-ass delicious. See you in a minute. Okay, everybody, super hot. Boy, it's not that much work, but it's a little hot here in my state at the moment, but my meat is done. My potatoes are done. Sour cream, butter, milk, just gotta beat the crap out of it with my little potato masher guy. At this point, I'm gonna transfer the meat into my pan. I'm going to dollop some of these potatoes on. I'm going to try to spread them out as evenly as possible to make a nice little layer. I'm going to throw it in the oven. It's going to kind of crisp these guys up, brown them up a little bit. Once that's achieved, I'm going to take some cheese. I've got this Kraft triple cheddar, and I'm just going to shake some of that on the top, throw it back in. 5 minutes later, the cheese is melted, and then I'll serve it up, and I'll show you exactly what we're going to do. Check this out. Boom. This is my meat and my veg. I'm literally, oh, you hear that? That is my stove oven combination coming to temperature. You want to kind of like make sure that it's kind of good and even. You can kind of give it a little shake. You can see those giant carrots. You can see all those peas. Oh yeah. Steamy goodness going on right there. That's what we want. That's exactly what we want. This is essentially like a crazy casserole. Now, take Spoonie and your taters and get to work. You want to go ahead and give these one final mix. Got that sour cream. I did put a little bit of salt and pepper in it. You can see the pepper. And just kind of get a good little bit. And start going down the middle with these things. We're going to try to spread this out as evenly as possible. Some of it is going to wind up being pushed down into the mix. There's really not much that you can do about that. It's just part of the process, but that's okay. Get as much as you can. Oh yes, if you want to, you can actually get a spatula and really clean this guy out here. At this point, I don't really think that I need one. I'm able to get the majority of it out, and that's okay. It's just Chef Lynn and I eating tonight, and we've already made quite a bit of food here, so we'll be okay with what we have. I don't like to waste food, but at the same time, there's really not much waste there. So, at this point, just start spreading it towards the edges. Don't press down too much. You don't want to press down, you want to spread out. So just slightly move your little spoonie, your spatchy, out to the sides. This is not the prettiest shepherd's pie that I've ever made. I've made some that actually looked really, really good. But that's okay, because this is going to be one of the best tasting ones that I've ever made. And that's what we want. We want flavor. Presentation does matter, but in this case, I think we're going to be okay. See, I'm missing a little bit over in this corner, but that's fine. I will go ahead and eat that because it's still yummy. And there we have it. Nice and simple. You know, try to make it look as pretty as you can. People do generally eat with their eyes first. But, yeah. There we have it. Basic shepherd's pie. At this point, what I'm going to do with this is toss it in the oven. It's at 375. I just want to go ahead and make sure that everything is heated through, which everything is cooked. It is still hot. I couldn't eat it right now. But I want to make sure that it is evenly heated. And I want to kind of crisp up those potatoes a little bit. Some people would put an egg wash on that. I've seen that a couple times. Personally, I don't prefer to do that. And once it's a little crispy, I'm going to throw that cheese on there. 5 minutes later, we're eating. So, here we go. In the oven. It's probably only going to take 5 minutes, 8 minutes. And it's going to look nice and brown on top. Oh, and then that cheese. Oh, I love cheese. Do you love cheese? Let me know in the comments below what your favorite cheese is. I will tell you that sharp cheddar and brie are two of my favorite cheeses. So hit me in the comments and let me know what your favorite cheeses are. Maybe I have a recipe using them that's something a little bit more than like a charcuterie board. Although I love charcuterie, sometimes I just like to eat cheese with everything. So let's get cheesy. See you in a minute. We have had this shepherd's pie, cottage pie, in the oven. It's crisped up a little bit nicely. Not as much as I wanted it to. That's okay. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of crunch to it, and I'm going to add some cheese to it. You know, I love cheese. I literally have like 8 pounds of cheese and 2 pounds of Velveeta, and like I'm a cheese-aholic. It's my thing. I also like a lot of crunch. I've got some French fried onions here. This is extremely non-traditional to use like the French fried onions on the top, but I want the crunch. So I've got my hammer here, and I'm just going to beat the crap out of these. That's probably really loud, and I'm sorry, but not sorry. Just beat the crap out of these things. That's what you got to do. You could just eat them like chips. I have been known to kind of eat a whole bag like chips because I really like these things. Oh yeah, there we go. You don't need too many, but you're gonna want some. It makes it truly kick ass. So beat the crap out of them, throw some cheese on, put it back in the oven, 5 minutes. You've got some really good shepherd's pie here. Oh yes. Now, check this out. As you can see, we've got a little bit of browning going on. This is obviously very, very, very well cooked. So at this point, all we want to do is just crumble some cheese over the top. We're going to take our onions that we beat the crap out of and kind of shake a little bit over the top. We don't want a ton of them. But we want some of them. Just little bites of crunch here and there. Look at that. Like, that's nice. Evenly layered cheese. You know, make sure not to leave too many dry spots. But since there's not a lot of potato here, I'm focusing on this area. It's up to you how you want to do this. Now, I've got the onions that I beat the crap out of. And like I said, there are very little of them. And we don't want to overwhelm the dish. We just want a little bit here and there. So, yep. Beat them up. Use them. You're good. At this point, I'm not sure if you can really see how many onions I have on top of this, but there are just enough to make it delicious. So I'm going to throw it back in the oven until the cheese melts, and we get a little bit more crisp on this. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Try not to burn yourself like I just did. I burn myself every time. I'm kind of a klutz. Yeah, these little flappy guys, they really work if you use them correctly, and apparently I did not, because, well, the oven is hot, and that's a lesson that I've learned for like the 1500th time. Don't touch the rack. It burns. So, hey kids, use your mitts correctly, your little flappy guys. Whew, yeah. So 5 minutes, we're done. I'm gonna pull that out. I'm gonna let it rest a little bit, because if it's stupid hot, like it already is, learn that the hard way, and you try to actually plate that up, it's gonna just turn into like a runny soup. So we're gonna pull it out when it's done. We're gonna let it rest for about 10 minutes. And then I'll be able to cut into it, and I'll be able to like plate it up. It'll still be nice and warm and delicious and crunchy and cheesy and creamy and meaty and vegetable-y. Oh, you're gonna love this. So I'll be back in 15 minutes and show you exactly what we got going on here. Remember, don't forget your flappy flaps. I'm just going to use a spoon here, and I've got a plate and a bowl, and I'm already got it pre-cut. It's going to kind of mess it up a little bit when we're plating this. That's bound to happen. It's not going to remain perfect. If this were cold, then I could make it look absolutely perfect, but I'm not about to serve cold food. I would rather have it look a little messed up. But there we have it. That is a shepherd's or cottage pie. I put a little bit of parsley on top. It's a little bit jacked up. So I'm going to take a little bit of paper towel and kind of wipe it up so I can serve it, make it look really nice. There we go. You can see the potatoes and the cheese. You can see a little bit of potato, the meat, the vegetable. I think it came out great. This does not need anything on the side. Everything is already in there. So, there you have it. Excuse me. So there you have it. That's a shepherd's or cottage pie. Generally, shepherd's pie is with lamb. Cottage pie is with beef. We used beef because it's kind of hard to find lamb where we're at. But, yeah, a little bit of cheese, some parsley, some crunchy onions, carrots, peas, gravy. So there you have it, folks. A nice shepherd's pie. It's technically a cottage pie because I use ground beef instead of lamb. I'm not sure how well you can see that. You should be able to see it on the other angle. You'll definitely see it in the thumbnail. Delicious. It really doesn't take as long as you would think. It took me longer to make this video than it did to actually make the food. I encourage you to make this. And please like, subscribe, and share. If you don't like the video, if you think my food is crap, tell me. Put a thumbs down and tell me why. Tell me how I can make it better, because I'm here for you. So if you liked it, great. If you didn't, great. Tell me why, because that's the only way I'm going to get better. I can accept criticism. I'm not going to get mad at you or like throw a fit or anything. I mean, come on. I'm 40 years old. Eat this though. Oh, you're going to frickin' love this, let me tell you. Oh man, the cheese, the vegetables, the potatoes. Ha, amazing. It is truly kick-ass, and so are you. I'll see you soon. Stay foodie.